someone always says that. So what else? What else? What else is a game? Can you think of games that aren't fun? Has anyone ever played a game that wasn't fun?
Only when you're losing.
Only when you're losing. Right? Okay. Anything else? So is that the only thing that defines a game? Yeah, please.
So a situation where someone needs to win or wants to win.
Okay, someone needs to win. All right.
It has an objective.
Has an objective. Okay, so that's good because you've got an objective and you've got winning. So sometimes your objective is to win, right? But not necessarily. Can anyone think of games that you'd play where you wouldn't win?
Chess, that's just personal.
All right, I'm glad someone brought up chess. Okay, so what's particular about chess?
2 players.
2 players, right? So now we got games with 2 players. Can you have games with more than 2 players?
Yes.
Can you have games with less than 2 players?
Yes.
Yeah, solitaire is a game, okay? So all those things, what do they... So we've got players, right? A game needs to have players. What else does it need to have?
Rules.
Rules, right? You need to have rules. So in chess, I can't just get all the pieces with my horsey, right? I have to let my horsey go around the right way, right? So we've got rules, we've got objectives, and we've got the number of players. What else? There's something that we've almost gotten to. The strategies, right? My choices, what people are allowed to do. If I'm playing Call of Duty, a video game, I can either use this gun or things like that, right? So we're going to play a game, and we're all going to play it, and you've got pieces of paper in front of you. It asks you to put 3 things down. Please only put the things down that I tell you to put down. The timing is relevant. So by all means put your name or a made-up name or anything that will identify you so that the winner gets a box of chocolates. And then we're going to play a game where the number of players are all of us. The rules are that everyone's going to write down a number from 0 to 100, a whole number from 0 to 100. Once we have all those numbers, we're going to calculate the average of those numbers. And then we're going to take 2/3 of that average. Okay? Once we have 2/3 of the average, the person who's written down the number closest to 2/3 of the average wins. Alright? Does that make sense? Yeah? So go ahead and write your first guess. Do not at this point write your second guess. And you are all competing against each other, so I would suggest to not show your guess to anyone else. If any of that's unclear, please let me know. There's a little example on that sheet if it's helpful. Has everyone written down their first guess? Yeah? Alright, so I do this with the kids, right? Basically what we've done, I do this, and people talk about video games, people talk about hide and seek, people talk about, so someone the other day said, oh, business is a game. I was very impressed. And then we play this game, exactly like we've just done. And then I say, alright, well let's think about it. The game we've just played, I've asked you to put a point on this line. Correct? Yeah? Okay, so say everyone has put down the biggest possible number. What is that? What's the biggest possible number?
100.
It's 100, right? And now let's say I want to play. So I come into the room, I know everyone's picked 100. What number should I pick? 66, right? 2/3 of 100. Okay? So the biggest guess that actually makes sense is 66. No one should guess any bigger than 66. Not just myself, but all of you people. Yeah? So immediately what we can do is say, well, all these numbers, which are our strategies, can be removed from the game. Do you agree? Yeah? So what we say in game theory is that those strategies are dominated. Doesn't make sense to play them. Okay? And so in fact, the game is to pick a number from 0 to 66. So now, what's the biggest number that makes sense to guess? 44, 2/3 of 66, right? So obviously, no one in the room has picked a number bigger than 44, right? And whenever I say that, there are always a few people that laugh, because obviously someone has, and I explain that's absolutely fine, someone always does. And then I say, okay, well, what am I going to do next? What am I going to ask you next? What's 2/3 of 44? And it makes no sense to pick any number bigger than 29. It makes no sense to pick any number bigger than 19. And in fact, the only number that it makes rational sense to pick is in fact 0. Because all the other numbers, we've all deduced no one is going to play them. So everyone's going to pick 0, right? And so everyone on their piece of paper has written 0, okay? Now, let's play again, okay? So we all know the rules, we've all thought through the process, we've all rationalized our behavior. So please do, write down your second guess. And this is for a second box of chocolates. So there's one box of chocolates going out to whoever wins the first guess, and one box of chocolates going out to whoever wins the second guess. Please, go ahead, write in your second guess. And then once you're done, if you can hand them to Louise.
Let me know when you're done.
And just to prove that I'm not lying and to incentivize you, there are real box of chocolates going. I actually ended up giving away two math textbooks last week with this.
Anybody done the guesses yet?
You done? Yeah? If you can.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to get the results from that relatively soon, because not many of us. But hopefully you can see that what's happening there, when you were thinking about it, you didn't just have to worry about what you were writing down, you also had to worry about what every other person in the room was writing down, right? If you indeed did know what everyone in the room wrote down, it would be pretty easy to figure out what's your best response to that. Yeah, does everyone agree with that? Okay. So, we're going to leave that for a little bit and move on to more general ideas in game theory. Who has heard of John Nash? Okay. Who has seen the movie A Beautiful Mind? And it's just ferociously depressing when you ask high school kids now, because no one has ever seen it. In fact, the other day, they hardly knew who Russell Crowe was, which made me feel like a bit old. But oh well. So, we're just going to see a little video clip from the movie A Beautiful Mind, which is a really great movie if you're interested in mathematics. I really recommend watching it, about John Nash, who is the father, if two other guys are the grandfathers, he is the father of modern game theory. Modern game theory had kind of come to a place where it stopped, you couldn't really get any further, and John Nash figured something out that basically allowed it to explode. So here's just a little clip from this movie. I hope the sound and the video is alright.
Anyone else feels she should be moving in slow motion?
Does she want a large wedding, you think?
She says swords, gentlemen. Pistols at naught.
Have you remembered nothing? Recall the lessons of Adam Smith, father of modern economics.
In competition, individual ambition serves the common good.
Exactly.
Every man for himself, gentlemen.
Yeah, those who strike out are stuck with their friends.
I'm not going to strike out.
You can lead a blonde to one of them. You can't even train.
I don't think he's
All right, nobody move. She's looking over him. She's looking at Nash.
All right, he may have the upper hand now, but wait until he opens his mouth.
Adam Smith needs revision.
What are you talking about?
We all go for the blonde. We block each other. Not a single one of us is going to get her. So then we go for our friends. But they will all give us the cold shoulder because nobody likes to be second choice. But what if no one goes for the blonde? We don't get in each other's way. And we don't insult the other girls. That's the only way we win.
So with the school kids, I actually cut it there because he's about to say this.
That's the only way we all get laid.
So in school, I try and cut it before that. He says that. I hope you'll forgive me. So at this point, stop distracting. At this point, they're all looking at me more or less the same way you're looking at me. Like, what's happening here? Okay, I've written down something on a piece of paper. That's pretty typical look I'm getting right there. Where's the good stuff? You know, I'm out of school for an afternoon or whatever. Okay, and that's fine. You know, you can't expect any more with school kids. We all remember what it was like. But then this is kind of where we get them. I asked them if any of them have seen a TV show called Golden Balls. Has anyone seen a TV show called Golden Balls? Okay? I had never seen it. It was actually pointed out to me when someone said, listen, you do game theory, you need to see this TV show. So, for people who don't know it, I'll briefly try and explain it. For people who do know it, forgive me if I missed the main crux of it, but basically 2 contestants went on a TV show, and the first stage they worked together to get a huge pot of money. And they got a huge pot of money at the end, and at the very end they had to share that pot of money. And they could either split the money, they could both say secretly, I'm going to split the money, in which case they'd split the money. Or I could say I'm going to split it, and Louise could say no, I want it all, and Louise would actually take it all. Vice versa. But if we happen to both say no, I'm going to steal it, then neither of us would get anything. Okay? So I'm going to play 2 clips now from the TV show. If you've seen it already, because it did go viral when they came out, if you've seen it already, don't spoil it for the people who haven't. If you've seen it already, you'll know why.
Okay, this is serious life-changing money. Your jackpot today is 100,000, 150.
A lot of money, right?
You have one final decision to make. Easy decision. We're now going to play split or steal. I know you're the last 2 people in the country I have to explain this to. But you have 2 final golden balls. You each have a golden ball with the word split written inside. You each have a golden ball with the word steal written inside. You will make a conscious choice of choosing the split or the steal ball. If you both choose the split ball, you split today's jackpot of £100,150 and you go home with £50,075. If one of you splits and one of you steals, whoever chooses the steal ball will go home with £100,150. And the person who chooses the split ball goes home with nothing. If you both choose the steal ball, you go home with nothing. Okay. Before I ask you to choose, I want you to look at your 2 golden balls and make sure you know which is the split ball and which is the steal ball. This is very important. Make sure you don't show each other. Before I ask you to choose, I think you have some talking to do to each other.
Stephen, I just thought they weren't puppy dog tears and they were real tears and you were genuinely going to split that money.
I am going to split this. That's just 50,000. I'm just, it's unbelievable. I'm very, very happy to go on with
You were
50,000.
genuinely going to split the money.
If I stole off you, every single person there would run over here and lynch me.
There's no way I could, I mean, everyone who knew me would just be disgusted if I'd stolen.
When people watch this, they're not going to believe it.
Please.
I can look you in the, Sarah, I can look you straight in the eye and tell you I am going to split. I swear down to you, I am going to split.
Okay. This is serious money. It is. Sarah, Steve, choose either the split or the steal ball now. Hold it up.
We're going on with 50 grand each. I promise you that.
Split or steal?
I love how she can't look at it for the next 5 seconds.
Congratulations. Sarah, you have just won.
So, the kids usually love that because everyone expects the horrible man to take the money away from the poor, defenseless, blonde lady, right? But no, she does very well. And this is another video from the same show that I like the show as well. Anyone seen this one? No?
Welcome to golden balls. After a run of big cash balls, Ibrahim and Nick now have £13,600 in front of them. We know they've got it, but the golden question is, can they keep it? Ibrahim and Nick, you now face a very straightforward choice, but it's a choice that could make one or both of you extra wealthy, but it could also lose both of you everything that you have fought for today. They have to decide to split or steal. Ibrahim, Nick, you have two final golden balls in front of you, and they are the most important golden balls of the game. You each have a golden ball with the word split written inside. You both have a ball with the word steal written inside. You will know which is split and which is steal because you're going to have a look. If you both pick the split ball, you split the 13,600 and you go home with 6,800 each. If one of you chooses the steal ball and the other chooses the split ball, whoever chooses the steal ball goes home with the whole lot, 13,600. But if you both choose the steal ball, you leave today's game with what you came with, nothing. It's the ultimate test of faith, trust, and let's face it, greed. Take a moment to look at the balls in front of you so you know for definite which is split and which is steal. Obviously, keep them concealed from each other. Just have a look. Okay. It's the easiest choice, but the most difficult one. What I want you to do is to spend half a minute talking to each other about what you both should do. Nick, Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, I want you to trust me. 100% I'm going to pick the steel ball.
Sorry, you're going to...
I'm going to choose the steel ball.
You're going to take...
I want you to do split, and I promise you that I will split the money with you.
Well, after you took steel.
Yeah.
You're going to take steel.
Yeah.
I'm going to take split.
Yeah.
So you take the money.
And I will split it with you.
After the show.
Yeah. Ibrahim, I promise you I'll do that. If you do steal, you both walk away with nothing. I'm telling you 100% I'm going to do it.
I appreciate that. Right, I'll give you another alternative. Why don't we just both pick split?
I'm not going to pick split. I'm going to steal. Ibrahim, honestly, 100% going to steal.
It's in your nature to steal.
No, I'm honest, and I'm going to tell you.
You're an honest.
I am. That's why I'm telling you I'm going to steal. If you do split, then I will split the
I
money.
can't see myself doing that.
Okay, well I'm going to steal, so I'm going to leave with nothing.
Where's your brains coming from? I can't work out.
I know that I'm a decent guy, and I will split the money with you.
Well, we should just both split then.
No, I'm going to do steal.
There is no
No,
legal
I know there is. I know there
for
is.
him to give you the
Of
money.
course. If I gave you my word, now let me tell you what my word means. My father once said to me, a man who doesn't keep his word is not a man. It's not worth nothing. It's not worth a dollar.
I agree.
So,
Ibrahim, I'm going to steal. That's a good choice. I'm going to steal, and we both walk away with nothing. Because you know, I've told you my intention, and I've told you that I will split the money with you, Ibrahim.
if I gave you my word that I was going to split, I would split. And you're going to take steal. So,
The only way you can guarantee to walk away with 6,800
It's by
is to
sharing.
guarantee that you both put the split ball in. And I do now have to push you for a decision. It's a tough one.
we've lost it. We've lost everything.
Lots then.
You're walking away with no money because you're an idiot.
No, that's not.
This can go on all night. These people are going to get up for breakfast. Nick, choose split or steal. Ibrahim, choose split or steal. Now, please. Choose a ball.
Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with you.
Okay.
I'm going to go
I
with you.
promise you I will.
change your balls now. Split or steal? Yeah! Congratulations, you're both split and each received £6,800.
That's just brilliant, right? I honestly think that's one of the best clips on YouTube. So, I will figure out the technical difficulties now. All right, so we'll come back to that second clip in a little bit. But now I ask the students, I say, is that the game we've just watched, right? And they look at that and they say, well, yeah. If both players split, they get 50-50. If one split and the other steals, the stealer gets 100 and the stealer gets 100. If they both steal, they get nothing, right? Okay. So then I say, if you knew for a fact, if you looked inside the golden ball I was holding up, if you knew for a fact that I was going to split, what does it make sense for you to do? And I clarify, we're just talking about money. We're not talking about feelings, we're not talking about ethics, you know, it's not about being polite, it's just business, it's just money. What does it make sense for you to do?
Steal.
Steal, right? 100 is bigger than 50. Okay. Now, if you know that I'm stealing, do you have any incentive to split if you're already stealing? No, they all realize. So, in fact, much like in the 2/3 of the average game, we can just get rid of the split thing. No matter what I do, you will steal. Okay? And now, if I know that, then no matter what you do, I might as well steal as well. Okay? For the game theorists in the room, there's issues of weak dominance, but we'll just cross over those for now if the students don't see that. So at this point you say, right, so what's really happening is completely rational. In fact, if anyone wins in this game, they must either be acting irrationally, or the numbers can't be quite right in there. Okay? And they get those ideas of dominance, they make the connection back to 2/3 the average game, and then depending on the age group, and you can do this with high school students really young, but depending on the age group, you can actually say, all right, what did Nick do against Ibrahim? What Nick did, so if we put Ibrahim up here, split and steal, the whole point is that if Nick is stealing, those two numbers are 0 and 0, so Ibrahim might as well steal. But by promising that he'll give half the money to him, what he actually does is increase that number slightly. Not quite to 50, because Ibrahim doesn't know that he's lying or not, right? But he basically puts a 1 there. Any number that's bigger than 0. So yeah, Ibrahim's like, well, if I know he's stealing, I'm basically indifferent, but there's a slight chance that split is better, and that's why he splits. And Nick knows that, makes that rational decision, so that's in fact why Nick splits as well, so that he doesn't have to go through the paperwork of having to actually split the money afterwards. The show does that for him. Okay? So, we're gonna... Oh, not quite yet. Now, that game is basically a prisoner's dilemma. And a prisoner's dilemma is one of the first games you learn when you learn game theory. And it's based on the following story. So Louise and I, on the weekend, we like to rob houses. So we like to rob houses, and one time we were robbing this house. I was upstairs stealing the dog, and Louise was downstairs. She'd already got a dog, so she was downstairs stealing the TV. And the cops barged in, and they rudely interrupted us in our thieving, and they had enough evidence on both of us to get us into prison for a certain amount of years. But they didn't have enough to know whose idea it was, okay? So they couldn't convict us for the whole crime. They could just convict us for a little bit of the crime. So what they did is they separated us straight away. And as we're being separated, I yelled to Louise, I was like, Louise, keep quiet. No matter what happens, we both keep quiet. And Louise was like, yeah, of course. And if we cooperate and we keep quiet, Louise and I will both go to prison for 2 years, all right? Stealing the dog, stealing the TV. But if one of us defects and says, Louise made me do it, oops, Louise made me do it, then I won't go to prison at all, and Louise will go to prison for 5 years. I get offered a deal, and vice versa. But if we both defect, basically both say, no, Louise did it, and I say, no, Vince, I say, Louise did it, and Louise says, Vince did it, we'll both go to prison for 4 years. Okay? And that's basically the exact same situation, because if I know that Louise is cooperating, then I'm comparing 0 years in prison and 2 years in prison. 0 years in prison is better, so I will defect. And then similarly, if I know that Louise is defecting, I'm now comparing 4 years in prison and 5 years in prison. Well, 4 years in prison is better, so I will never keep quiet. It doesn't make sense for me to ever keep quiet. So I'll get rid of that strategy. And now, Louise knows that I'm defecting, because I'm not cooperating, and so Louise now decides between those two, and Louise defects. Now, that's named after Russell Crowe. That's a Nash equilibria, alright? Russell Crowe playing John Nash in that movie we saw earlier on. And what you have there is a point at which neither of us have an incentive to move. And in a way, if you think about this, we're actually explaining to high school kids, 12, 13 or older, quite an important concept of game theory, and you've gotten at it quite simply. But we're now going to play that. Okay, we're going to play an iterative prisoner's dilemma. So I'm going to suggest some of you move. We're going to need 4 teams. So I don't know if 2 2s, 2 3s perhaps? Does that work? So yeah. So maybe if 3 people come sit here from one of those 2 tables. Terribly rude of me to make you guys move. Don't seem very comfortable. But again, there will be chocolate.
Only 2 2s.
2 2s, 2 3s? Yeah? Is that right? So we need 2 more people. There you go. That'll do. Alright, great. Okay, so those are our teams, alright? Now what we're going to do is play an iterated prisoner's dilemma tournament. So it's going to be round robin. Each team is going to go against every other team, holding up a C or a D. And the goal of the game, don't worry, we'll get to it in a bit more detail. The goal of the game will be to minimize the total years in prison. So when I'm dueling another team, whether or not I go to prison for less time than them in that particular duel is irrelevant. Okay? I'm not trying to beat that team. It's just I'm robbing a whole bunch of houses with different teams, and at the end of playing everybody, so at the end of 3 duels, how many years I got in prison. Alright? And by iterated, I mean we're going to have one team standing here, another team standing there, and you're going to show a C or a D to each other 5 times. We're going to count up the years in prison, 2, 5, or 4. Okay? And so there'll be a box of chocolate for that as well. What's the 4th box of chocolate for?
I think it's first and second, maybe, or the lead.
I don't remember. Alright. Probably for us. There's just 3 boxes of chocolate. And so here's a video Professor Harper filmed of this event being run in school with kids. So you are actually going to stand up like these kids, and that's what you get with the kids. And this is the point where they're really like, I'm not just listening to some guy talking about math. So that guy in the blue jumper, he was a bit of a character. He got it, basically. When you say jumper.
D at 33. Korea at 28.
Alright, Korea are 5 behind, alright? Everybody ready? You guys got a long chat, right? You already know what you're doing, right? Okay, you're gonna turn around. Turn around. 1, 2, 3, show. See, well done. So they're being nice, right? If you read up about Axelrod's tournament, that makes sense to do. Right. 1, 2, 3, show. Right. 1, 2, 3, show. 1, 2, 3, show. 1, 2, 3, show. Oh. You guys agree, right? Okay, so you don't actually see it there, but they all had a long chat before that they were only going to play Cs. They in fact went up just with Cs. They left their Ds on the desk. And then the guy that was holding the C at one point, he turns around, and they both turn around. I make them turn around, and the other guy reaches over, grabs the D, hands it to him, and he turns around. So they kind of got the idea that you want to cooperate at the beginning, be nice at the beginning to maximize your score, and then punish at the end to try and maximize your score further. But something very cool happened. That guy in the blue jumper, I'm confused because I was wearing the same color jumper I'm wearing today. Same jumper I'm wearing today. That blue jumper guy, he was obviously a very popular kid in school, right? Everyone liked him, so also everyone didn't want him to win, obviously. And but he really got it. He understood how to manipulate the game, how to play the game, and so he was going to win. And the next two teams were going to play each other, and as long as they did anything but what they actually did, the blue jumper guy was going to win. But what happened, and this threw me a bit when it happened, because I didn't expect to get to this level of game theory, those two teams formed a coalition. And they said, right, we don't want him to win, so we're going to take a hit, and you guys beat us, we'll cooperate every go, defect every go, so that he doesn't win, alright? Now, they had a long chat, this started happening, and I just want to see if you can, I'll play this clip very briefly, you might hear the blue jumper guy at the back of the room, okay? 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, no. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3, go! I'll give you guys a Kit Kat if you do D. You hear that? I'll give you guys a Kit Kat if you start doing D, right? So he's trying to incentivize them. So, long story short, one of those two teams won, and that happened. And so, more and more I do this particular activity, every now and then you get that coalition happening, and you can obviously manipulate the order of play at the end, which of course I won't do with you guys, to get that coalition to happen. Which sometimes is interesting, right? Because they get to talk about it and talk about when that will happen, and you even get someone once said, okay, that's why you have rules in free markets to stop that kind of thing happening. So, right now we're gonna play.
Will you put the
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can be team A. If you want to think of a team name, you can. B, C, and D. Okay, so we'll do A and B against each other first. So if you guys would like to come up to the front, bring your C's and D's. Bring your C's and D's with you.
Would you guys like to do a little dummy round, just or do you guys think you got it? So if we were to do a dummy round, we'd just play 5 rounds, and you're adding up your score. But beating each other in this duel is not the aim of the game. Everyone's going to play everyone, and at the very end we're going to sum up everyone's years in prison, and the team who's got the least years in prison takes the chocolate home. You look puzzled. I perhaps haven't explained that.
Are we meant to be facing a wall?
You can.
So we encourage you to talk to each other first of all.
Okay.
This is where you promise each other you're going to cooperate all the way through.
It won't take too long.
Okay. But if you have nothing to say, so you guys are playing each other next. You're
Let's
welcome
just
to
jump
talk
straight
to each other.
in. Okay, so between you decide if you're going to cooperate or defect. No, well you can answer if you want. If you want to cooperate. Yeah. Okay. Now you turn around, decide what you're going to show.
1, 2, 3, show. Alright, 2 C's. So you've both gone to prison for 2 years, right? Okay, everyone ready? So there's 5 rounds of this, yeah? 1, 2, 3, show. Oh, an early defect. You're team B, right?
Yeah,
so team B goes up by 0.
B's still on 2 and you're on 7 now.
No, so the question is yes, do we punish them? Okay.
Talk to each other?
So you want to punish them? Okay.
Right.
So the question is, do you deserve to be punished? Would you like to say sorry?
How many rounds is there? So there's 5 rounds. There's 5 rounds. So you defected a bit early there. I'm trying to punish you. Okay.
Big apology.
Can we cooperate?
like to.
That sounds honest. She's definitely honest there.
And Becky here thinks she should be punished.
Alright, let's see how things go. Let's see how things go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, show.
Okay.
Oh, that's very nice, very nice.
You have to see.
You're definitely cooperating this time, though. Definitely.
Moving from the party line there.
No, we get 0 if we were.
It's aggregate all the whole round, right?
So we're adding up the years in prison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, at some point, trust is going to run out of
Committing a lot of crime claims.
They are, yeah. Trust, I agree.
Exactly.
We just got to try not to get caught.
Best guess at this point.
We know their pattern now.
And again, guys, you're not trying to beat each other, right? The number that's in column 5 is going to be added to the number that's in column 5 in your next duel and your next duel, right?
So we've got 3 rounds to get through, so
Okay.
this is not the end.
Yeah.
Right, let's get on with it.
1, you guys ready?
Ready.
Everyone ready? 1, 2, 3, show.
You see, we have a nice team. I'm playing the long game here.
You guys are very welcome to start Poker Strategy now if you wanted to. And the last one, this is the last one. You're never meeting each other again. 1, 2, 3, show.
Both expected.
Yeah.
You guys both defect?
Yeah. We couldn't trust them anymore.
14, add 2 4s, both. Yeah, so.
Oh, did you do both effective?
Yeah, they both defected, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Alright, season from team C and D. Up you come.
You guys got team names? You want team names?
Yeah. So probably just on 5 rounds
Okay.
So now your 8 is going to be added to however what your score is when you play the next time. The lowest wins, exactly. Oh yeah, the lowest wins, right? You guys ready? You want to talk to each other? You want to talk to each other? No?
Don't trust them.
Alright, we'll get going, right? Turn around, guys.
Turn around, yes.
Turn around, please. Alright, everyone ready? 1, 2, 3, show. Ready? 1, 2, 3, show. Oh, very nice. Again, 1, 2, 3, show. 1, 2, 3, show. Oh.
Oh no. Did everyone show at the same time? You're C, aren't you? Right, okay, so you're still on 6.
Confusing a team name C and D for sure.
Yes.
C and D.
Do you guys want to talk to each other? It's the last round.
They will cooperate this time.
As I got listen to that. Ready? Both guys ready? Both know what you're doing?
Okay.
You know what you're doing? Yeah?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, show.
You didn't, right? So you...
Alright. Okay, let's do
Next time. We've thrown it all out in the first one.
how about we do A with C?
Very friendly at the beginning.
So this is the team that got something to win now. Right? You guys both took a big hit in the first round, right?
Completely annihilating that one. The next one's
What's the whole idea of the
You guys both need to help each other.
They do. On your next one, they're always defect. Then you'll always defect after a certain limit, so therefore you minimise your... They always defect against everything.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk to each other, guys?
You want to score your best points off them.
No?
So you
We're happy to carry on
always
cooperating.
cooperating when you want to
Collaborate.
right?
Yeah,
That's when it's
we've got a very
do what they try and allow.
Okay.
When you play, when you play all the teams, you do really well against other people who cooperate, but you minimise your losses against the ones that defect. So on the overall scale, you do well.
You won't be away the whole thing. When none of your teams could ever recover from against that, you'll think
That was good. No. But at the end it differs because on your very last.
I thought that was it.
There's no more being nice, right? See on the last two goes, therefore there was no...
I mean,
So getting like a none and a 4.
basically being sure, because you're
The same as getting a 2 and a 2. So effectively,
Share the chocolates.
falling them is
All right, let's see if that works out.
So I think
Yes?
Yeah.
that was good, yeah.
You get 0, 0, 0, we get 5, 5, 5.
Yes.
So we can do the thing that you win, but none of the other teams can. Theoretically, they might win.
Oh, they might do the same thing.
All right, let's see what happens, guys. Turn around.
Well, yeah.
1, 2, 3, show.
I'm not very good at this sort of stuff.
All right.
Okay, so 0.
1, 2, 3, show. Yeah.
I think it's going to be easy.
1, 2, 3, show.
Yeah, I'm going to get it.
Yep.
And then just do what they
Do
did.
we need to? I mean, I do.
So in the game, I did.
1, 2, 3, show.
That's known to do best.
Yeah, and last one. 1, 2, 3, show.
Better in like 50.
Yeah.
Rather than 4, but...
All right. Well done, Team C. So now.
C is still on 16.
18, 25. I can't be done.
It's the cooperation.
Let's go for Team B and Team D. Now what are you going to do? Yeah, Team A messed it up there.
I don't know, do we want them to win? We don't want the others to win, do we?
If we help them
He split them yesterday, so I trust that he would.
All right, guys, we need to move on.
Yeah,
So it's better to let us win.
We will cooperate.
Okay.
Wait, is it
And you
better
guys
for us
gonna
to cooperate
defend?
though?
No, as in.
It's best for both of us to cooperate all the way.
Is it? Because then we get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
It's
No,
going
no,
to take us above.
Yeah, but they want 16. If we both score 10, then
Then
we're
We're still in the running in the last round.
All right, let's see what happens. Turn around, guys. Turn around. Turn around. Everyone know what they're doing? Do you guys know what you're doing? Do you guys know what you're doing? 1, 2, 3, show.
Okay.
I think we might have taught them a lesson. In collaboration.
1, 2, 3, show. 1, 2, 3, show. 1, 2, 3, show.
What was that for? I thought we had an agreement.
We did it first.
All right, this is now your last round. 1, 2. Does everyone know? Everyone happy?
What are you not going to do?
Cooperate.
Sounds legit. 1, 2, 3, show.
Shameful.
Well, we still have 10, so that's what we had planned.
All right, so let's have. A and C?
No, A and D.
A and D? All right. A and D.
Well, we don't have to all the time, but D are we... These are problems.
You guys want them to win?
I don't think they want to speak to you, to be honest.
We know you are all defence.
Everyone ready? Everyone
We
ready?
agree on a strategy.
You guys might want to walk back, I don't know. Ready? 1, 2, 3, show.
Oh, hang on, missed that.
That's different to your last.
It's a D and a C. So Team A get nothing, and Team D got punished. 1, 2, 3, show.
Be better if we both change.
1, 2, 3, show. Yep, they're just desperately trying to get 4s instead of 5s. 1, 2, 3, show. And 1, 2, 3, show. Very interesting.
For us. So we actually...
All right, so now This is
B and C.
so what are the current scores?
How nasty.
A got
Yeah. We can openly admit that. Doesn't care anymore.
okay. So if T and C get less than 21, they win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Play them first.
You need to score less than 21.
Sorry?
You need to have less than 20. When you get to 5, fifth round, you need less than 21 then to win.
Yeah, we did this before.
You're
You
B.
submit
Yeah, we're B.
your strategy.
You're B.
Oh,
your way.
C.
And
You need
then
less
everyone
than
plays
21.
everyone
You need
but
less than-
anonymously. So
Wait, so
it's
if
not as though
we
you know what someone else is going to do.
I'm not saying we will,
Uh,
but if we do, then you might not win.
Yeah, be better if you both defected. That's
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all getting 20 and we need less than 21.
Yeah.
5-2.
Our birthday
As long as they defect every goal, they'll get less than 21.
Yeah.
We have to take the
No. Yeah, that's why when we did it, for the
You might as well.
you submit like a strategy and then they play them all in one go and you can't change halfway through like your strategy, as it were. So the strategy is known for
Well,
doing.
I think we can do this one relatively quickly. 1, 2, 3, show. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, show. Etc. Etc. Yeah. All right. Well done. So that's 1 box of chocolates for you guys. All right. So that level of coalition has never happened playing with high school kids. So for that early, so that was actually quite cool to see. They normally kind of actually figure out what's happening by the second round.
Well, I think we have first and second for prisoners then.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
who actually came second?
Team D.
I feel like doing it to these guys, so right? But anyways, lots of chocolates to go around.
So we want to see. Yeah. Okay, and the 2/3 of the average game. On your first guesses, the average was 35.5, and 2/3 of that was 23.7, and Vicky wins with 25 as her guess. And the second round, the average was 17.4, and 2/3 of that was 11.6, and Peter won with 13.
All right. So at this point, I actually say, okay. So what's happened there? The second guess, the winning guess in the second round was a lot lower than the winning guess in the first round, right? But theoretically, the winning guess should always be 0. So what's wrong with the math?
We're irrational human beings.
Exactly. Human beings spoil mathematics. What do you think would happen if we played again and again and again and again? Get them to do that.
Are you all staying for the workshop, or are some of you going off? Okay, because we've kind of only got 5 minutes left, and I haven't. Vince has taken all the time, and I haven't had time to tell you about OR in schools.
That should just work. Just click through. There'll be a few other slides for rock, paper, scissors stuff that we can get on to.
Oh, right, here we go. Okay, so just quickly for those of you who aren't staying, we have an OR in schools project at the Society, which has been going for about 5 years now. I've been the education officer there for 3 years, and the main aim is to try and raise awareness of OR in schools, both primary, secondary school, A-level, and even do work with universities as well. And the idea is just to get them to know what OR is, both as a career choice, so if we find people that like maths, like problem solving, but don't know what they're going to do with it, they've got a really interesting career choice out there. But also, the applications of OR are really interesting and help students see the point of studying maths, and they actually lend themselves quite nicely to really interesting resources for schools to use in the maths classroom, just to try and engage the students and provide some enrichment for them. So we have a website called Learn About OR, which was created specifically for students and teachers, which contains teaching resources, careers information, university information, case studies, all sorts of things like that. We also have a DVD of case studies. I'm going to hand these out in the workshop, so I think you said you might. So you can take a couple of these if you like to have a look at. And that's got some companies on there. So we've got Asda, British Airways, Tata Steel, we've got the government, we've got Formula One and the Emirates football stadium. So really quite interesting case studies of people talking about how they use OR and maths in real world problems, which is what teachers and students want. So how are we currently getting OR into schools? We encourage OR Society members to volunteer to go and give a talk. So you could run something similar to what we've just done today with the Prisoner's Dilemma tournament, or you could go and simply give a short talk, present a case study about the work that you're doing. Students are really interested to hear about how maths is used in the real world and what people do with it, because they know it's not what they do in the classroom. We have the teaching resources which are on the website, and for those of you that are staying for the workshop, I'm going to demonstrate one of those. I go to maths teacher conferences and raise awareness of OR and the resources that we have. We have quite strong links with the maths community now. We also advertise the website and the DVD and encourage teachers that request those to have school visits as well. We have a YouTube channel which we put various videos on as well as that DVD. So we're being videoed today, that will go on there. And we have a new scheme starting in the summer which puts OR undergraduates into schools for a month in June, and they will actually work with maths classes and develop resources and use some of the current resources as enrichment activities. So it's all quite exciting at the moment. For those of you that aren't aware, there's actually a decision maths module in the A-level curriculum which has very strong links with operational research and computer science, because they cover things like critical path analysis, the algorithms, the routing problems, they do some linear programming and game theory. And it's often quite nice because it's new maths to those students, they've never met it before. And that's where we're finding now our first steps into schools, and now we're looking at trying to get into the GCSE area and secondary school. So here's an example of one of the resources that we do in schools. These are primary school children. I was doing some linear programming with them using Lego. Not hard, just two variable graphical linear programming. But they were using this to understand the point of doing algebra, straight line graphs, that sort of thing. And that's how we made the connections with them. So it is possible to get OR into schools and for young children to do these activities and understand them. And just quickly, if any of you are interested in volunteering and getting involved, as I said, you could go into school, you can approach schools, so if you've got any links yourself with schools that you'd like to encourage them to use our resources or request a visit. Also, if you've got any ideas yourself, what makes nice resources or case studies, anything like that. And obviously it has benefits for yourself as well, because you're networking, it'll look really good on your CV. It's actually quite hard going into a class and talking to students, so it's quite new skills that you can develop, as well as being quite rewarding at the same time. And just finally, if you did want to volunteer, as well as support from the society, there's something called STEM Ambassadors, which you might like to get involved in. It's a national programme, and they provide training, insurance and support for anyone that works in STEM, so science, technology, engineering or maths, to go into schools. And it's a nice support network, and so you can sign up with them. They ask you to do one activity a year, which can be done through us, the OR Society, as an OR in Schools visit, or you can do something through their national programme. So I just encourage you to consider that if you wanted to go into schools. And that's it. Yeah, sorry for the whistle-stop tour, but I think if you're staying for the workshop, we'll go into it a little bit more detail. But if you have got any questions, any ideas, you want to get involved in any way or just speak and find out more, please feel free to get in touch with me. My contact details are on the OR Society website, or you can just ring up the office. Or there's my email address there. I think that's it. Yes. Thank you very much. Hope you had fun. And see you all in schools. Thank you, and congratulations.